the friends that I was with that helped me all weekend just made it so much more. Like, started bringing like, wow, the show is true. Like, it's about the friendships. It was crazy. So,
How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Reversal Quiz, and today we are with the Despia King, a YCS champion, and a fellow content creator as of recently, Chris Lofton. How's it going, man?
how's it going? It's going pretty good. Going pretty good despite everything right now. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you're on the grind.
I'm on the content grind. Yeah, a lot. To say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's really good to have you on the show. And I'm going to be asking Lofton 20 Yu-Gi-Oh! Related questions. And man, feel free to elaborate, tell your story, let the people get to know you. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Take the wheel.
All right, so question number one is an easy one. When did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And how did you get into the game?
Oh, man. Started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I think I was in 4th grade. I'm 30 years old right now, so it was 2 decades ago. I think the same as everybody else. TV show kind of got me into it. Started, getting cards and stuff. I was always, it seemed like in my school, because you play with the kids at your school, always felt like I was better than those other kids playing. But I think that came from like when I was early, my mom had taken me to an actual local, and so when I was at that local, there were like teenagers and like adults playing the game, so I would pick up on like what to do. And I remember my deck at the time, I played Exodia, and I remember every time I would play my friends, like, because I think Sangan and like Witch of the Black Forest was at 3 or something back then.
Yeah,
and my friends were like, "Oh my god, like how did you get all 5 pieces?" And I'm like,
I searched them.
you kept killing my monsters, so I kept putting. But it's like to the kids that like in my school were like, I just see it on the show, like you're not supposed to be able to do that. And I'm like, okay, so there's a disconnect here, and I need to learn how to do better. So I played all the way up until high school. Freshman year, I kind of quit, and then I stopped all through high school, because I got addicted to a game called RuneScape, and I just played that religiously. So my weekends would consist of, if I had to leave to go to locals, I couldn't play RuneScape. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to play RuneScape. So I just kind of gave up on that. It was, I graduated high school, and then the year following I went to, I think, my first SJC, which I think it was an SJC at the time. It was at Gen Con. And then the next year it was a YCS. SJC would be Shonen Jump Championship, and then YCS would be Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series. I got just absolutely, I think it was 0-3, and I was like, this isn't fun. Like, I remember walking around the venue, and I bought like a Gores, and I bought like 3 Cyber Dinosaurs, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put these in a deck. I think this is probably pretty good. It was not. It was not good at all.
It was not.
It was just like, oh, I probably need to figure out what I'm doing now. So I just started getting back into the game, started going to locals, started picking up on some things, started picking up on like what works, what doesn't work, and then I earned my first YCS top the year later at YCS Indy with Hero Beats, and that kind of like opened up the actual competitive nature for me, where I was like, oh, this feels good, I want more of this, and so here I am today.
That is absolutely super cool, and we're going to be asking a lot more about all the events you topped and won later, but question number 2 is, what was the first booster pack you ever opened? I mean, considering you started playing so long ago, I didn't expect you to be playing that long ago, right?
I'm old. I think the first pack I opened was Metal Raiders. I think it was Metal Raiders.
Yeah.
With they had Boral Dragon. Is that what the card? I think it was Boral Dragon, and no, that was like Change of Heart. I think it was Metal Raiders.
Yeah, Metal Raiders was
insane. It was LOB, but I think it was Metal Raiders. But like, I had Solemn Judgment. But yeah, that was the first pack I opened. I don't remember the first card. I don't remember the first relevant card that I pulled at the time, but that was the first pack I put my hands on.
Yeah. And question number 3 is what deck you first played, but you already answered that, so we're gonna go straight to 4. Well, yeah.
Well, actually, the first deck I played, like growing up, it was like an Exodia deck. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's true. And question number 4 is, what is your most memorable tournament experience?
Most memorable tournament experience. I guess maybe I'm biased on this, but YCS Bogota. So I mean, we hadn't had events for 2 years. I've just been messing with the unsanctioned Konami events, and I got my hands on Despia cards. It was like in January or December, so it was like 6 months before Branded Fusion came out. And I'm reading these cards, and I'm like, these have to be good, right? Like at some point, these have to be like really good, right? Because I'm just reading them, and they seem fine. So I would go to like PPGs or like little box tournaments or case tournaments that stores were just having, and I'm playing this deck, and I'm like, hey, these meta decks are struggling against me. I'm like, if I stick with this deck, I think maybe it'll be good one day. And then they released the information for the releasing of the structure deck, and I remember just tweeting, and I'm like, I am going to win the very first event that this structure deck is legal. I promise you. So I go to YCS, the first YCS back. It was North Carolina. My friend Elijah ended up winning. I had almost no play testing for that week. I was just playing pure Despia. It was a week before Branded Fusion came out. Didn't get into top cut, and I'm like, all right, no big deal. I got the next one. Like full thinking I've got it. I get down to Bogota. I'm hanging out with my buddies, Christian, Urena, Pac, Hani, Patrick Hoban. We're all in the hotel trying to figure out like how to play this deck properly. And I have trap cards in my deck at this point. Like I was playing Branded Eldritch before it became Branded Eldritch. Because I was like, oh, it's a light target. This is going to be pretty good. And I remember sitting down with them playtesting all night. And at one point, Patrick looks at me and he goes, you should take trap cards out of your deck. And I go, what? And yeah, Christian goes, you should take the trap cards out of your deck. And I was like, it's the night before the event. Whatever. I'm gonna listen. Whatever. So it is 9 o'clock in the morning. We have to have our deck list turned in at 9:30, and I'm sitting at a table with Christian. Like I have no idea what cards are going in my deck right now. I've just got no idea. And I look, and I'm like, it's 40 cards. I'm like, Albion's not in my deck. I'm like, I should put this card in my deck. It seems pretty cool. And I just go, whatever. 41. I'll play it. It isn't until round 4 of this tournament that I'm like, I think my deck's pretty good. Like it took 3 rounds for me to be like, I don't think this deck is very good. In round 4, as I've just been 2-0ing everybody, I'm like, I think it works. So I ended day 1 X1-1, and then day 2 I won my 2 rounds, and then we're getting to top cut, and I barely win top 32 because my opponent didn't play a proper super poly target. That's the only reason why I won that. Top 16, my opponent made an illegal activation in a game 3 situation, and he already made an illegal activation in the tournament, so it was an automatic upgrade to a game loss. So I won my top 16 just like that. I didn't actually know if I would have won that one because I actually had 2 super polys in my hand. So I'm like, I could have probably still broke your board. It was a mirror match. Top 8 was against Asala. I beat him in I think 13 minutes. And then I played top 4 against like a 2-time UDS champion down there from Bogota, or at least Mexico. And then the finals, I played my friend Ruben, and he actually ended up kind of semi-punting the game to me, game 3. And it was just this whole time, I remember when I drew for turn, and I was like, oh, I'm winning this event. Like there was a realization setting in, like I'm about to win this event. So after I won, it was just, I stood up, me and Ruben, we hugged, we shook hands. They called me up on stage, they wanted pictures. It was just like, I'm never going to forget this. Because like, I've been playing the game competitively for a decade, like for this moment. And like, it got to happen for me. So this is like, there's only been like 250 some YCSs. And there's like been a lot of repeat champions. So like, there's probably only about 200 different champions as far as competitive Yu-Gi-Oh goes in the decade and a half that it's been around. So like, I just don't think I'll ever dismiss that tournament experience. And like just the friends that I was with that helped me all weekend just made it so much more. Like started bringing like, wow, the show is true. Like it's about the friendships. It was crazy. So that's my answer. This is gonna have to be my answer.
So the next question was, what is a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh accomplishment that you're most proud of? That could definitely be the YCS as well.
Well, so this is going to sound super funny, I guess. So in my friend group, like like in the past decade, where I live in Indiana, so like regional top eights were like a huge thing for us. I don't know why, looking back, but like that's there. Like we would keep track of our regional top eights, and because like topping YCSs were just like so just out of mind for us back then, let alone winning one. So we would keep track of regional top eights and traveling to all these events, all these regionals for no other reason than we like to play YuGiOh. Because back then they didn't even have a worlds grind, so it was just simply I like to play YuGiOh. That's why I'm driving 3 to 6 hours to go play YuGiOh. So I think being competitive with my friends, my direct inner circle, to see at the end of the year who could have more regional top eights. And I got to a point where I was the most decorated Indiana player with over 30 regional top eights. And like you say that out loud now, and it's just like, why would you even say that? And for me, it's like, well, the only reason I know is because that was our thing growing up. So like, it was just easy to keep track of. But that's what helped grind me in the mindset of, I want to do better. I want to do better than my friends if I can. Like I want to be him. Like, I want to be that guy. So I think that's my answer for that one.
I can totally relate. I think people who come from smaller or more remote places can actually relate to that, because again, you never know if you're gonna even make it to a YCS or where you're gonna compete, and you just want to play the game. So any regional top is an accomplishment for sure. So we got a few questions, kind of like peeking into what you're teching right now. And the first one will be, what is your latest card search?
My latest card search, as far as like if I'm like on the dueling book and I'm just like searching a card.
Yeah, either that or buying it.
Well, I guess I'll go with buying. I'm a Starlight collector, so I have 3 of each Starlight rare in my binder. So I am on the hunt for the Pote Starlights. I think I need 1 more Starlight DPE, 2 Kurakaras, and an Asua. So those are the last ones I need to complete Powers of the Elements. As far as playing wise, I have a little series going on my page right now. It's like a Road to Rank 1 dueling book. I think the last card I searched was Cosmic Cyclone, because I needed to take out Twin Twisters from the side and put Cosmic Cyclones in the side deck. Yeah.
There you go. You can also see them in the background on your table.
You can also see an extra playset. Yes, I got an extra one, but those were claimed today, actually.
Yeah. Question number 7. What was the last card you sleeved?
Well, I think it was a Tier Element core, because I just put that in these bubble mailers, because I'm sending out the core because I have no use for them right now.
Yes. We're gonna get to that a little bit later as well. And speaking of dueling, what is your current default deck on Dueling Book?
Tier Element Despia. Tier Element branded in tears is what I like to call it. Branded in tears.
That is what your opponent is going to be. He's going to be branded in tears.
I'm crying after I give him the sloppiest branded fusion of their life.
Yes, we don't play Ash anymore. Question number 9.
Nobody does.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best time to be a branded player. That was my biggest
Really?
fear at the time.
Nobody wants to listen to me, but hey, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. Question number 9 is, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh set or product of all time? Or product. Could be a structure deck as well.
DUEA. Where we had Shadal's, Burning Abyss, and Satellars. That was the pinnacle shift for competitiveness for me. Like, I was competitive, and then I think the set that, so D-Rev, the set that Pot of Duality, Scrap Dragon, those cards came out, that was like good. And then
Valor.
We got into DUEA, and I think it was Duelist Alliance maybe.
Yeah.
But when that happened, it was like everything in the set was good. The floor of competition just opened up. You could play whatever deck you wanted and like still find success. And I think that set for me helped broaden my horizons as far as what we can really do as players if like you give us variety. So I think that was very good for me. That was my favorite set, I think.
That's solid. I think that was also Tatsum's answer. I think it's a set that a lot of people actually remember to being like one of the greatest. A few ban list questions. Question number 10. If you had the power to ban any card you wanted right now, what would it be?
Right now, and what is today? September 7th, 2022? Yes. Whew. If I could have any power to ban one card.
Looking at the desk, seeing what's going on. What cards
it's not
do I have there?
Mystic Mine, by the way. It's not Mystic Mine. So this is a hard question. I think a card that I'm just like tired of dealing with. Robina. I get that card out. Like, stop. I don't like you. I just don't like you.
I think this is a really, really good answer. Just like a personal ban on personal, yeah.
Absolutely. If I could have my way, if I was pulling the strings behind Konami, nobody gets to play the card. Like, no, stop. Like, it's not fun. It's not interactive. It is the least fun. There's just no counterplay to it, honestly. Like, it's the epitome of, well, you really have to have the cards you need early on, or they have to break. And while Mystic Mine is like, if your tactic is to stall me out or to burn me, I have a few turns to draw some cards. I can draw probably like 8 or 10 times to find something. Fluandereeze, it's like, if you don't have the card in the first 1 or 2 turns, it's probably just done. And I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah. Robina to 0 immediately. And the same question for limited. If you had the power to limit one card and not unbanning a card, limiting a card that is currently unlimited or semi.
Lofton TCG to 1.
We must have that. Are you a YuGiOh card?
You know what? Honestly, in the lore, Aluber hasn't taken the mask off yet, so maybe.
That's a good point.
But card to 1. What card do I want? Title. I want title to 1.
Title to
Dragon River title.
All right, that makes sense. Why title specifically?
I was a huge water prince, huge water boy. Prince is probably one of my favorite cards, and I want to play some Atlantean Mermail. Honestly, Diva's an FTK, and I always liked it. I had the most fun with that deck. It was probably my second combo deck, but the combo deck that I like really learned how to play really well. So, title. Bring back title. You didn't do nothing wrong.
That's true. Question 13. If you were specifically a monster card, what type would you be?
Really? Probably Dark Fiend.
Dark Fiend, not Dark Fairy.
Probably Dark Fiend.
Dark Fiend. I think that checks out. That makes sense.
Lines up there.
Yeah. The next question. What is your favorite card that you currently own? You're a Starlight collector, so that's going to be extremely tough.
This card. My Ultra Rare Dueling Dragon.
Ah, yes. The one.
I think it's my favorite card. I've had offers on it, and it's just like one of those things where I'm like, do I care to get rid of it? Do I want to get rid of it? I want it. It means something to me. Like I literally traveled the world for this card. So I mean, I can't say that about any other card at all.
That's true. That makes sense. Question 15. What was the last card you got rid of?
Cosmic Cyclones. They're right there, but I do have to drop them off today.
Cosmic Cyclones. Starring in this episode in 3 questions today.
Put that in your thumbnail, just the Cosmic Cyclones underneath.
Yeah, it's just going to be a Cosmic Cyclone on your face. Yeah.
Lofton TCG featuring Cosmic Cyclone.
Question 16. Who is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh personality? Could be a few, doesn't have to be one.
Oh. Okay. Do you mean like from players' personality?
Could be players, could be YouTubers, could be whatever. Doesn't have to be someone famous.
I have a favorite player and I have a favorite personality.
That works.
My favorite player is Tommy Rowe. He's always been a good friend of mine, and like he used to be just insane. Like every event he would go to, just tops left and right. Doesn't matter. He's just some kid. Wasn't even finished out of high school yet. Just second place. This. Always in top cut. Just always innovative. Just kid was cracked. Also, he's a good friend of mine, and so like it's just so real. It's surreal. My favorite personality, it's got to be Triff. Like, I've hung out with him so much, but before I was starting to hang out with him, I was like, there's no way you're like this all the time, right? Like, this is a joke, right? There's just no way. He's like it all the time. What you see on Twitter, YouTube, that's him. Every moment of the time. Everything is genuine with that guy. It's just not a moment of doubt in his mind. Like, this guy could tweet like, oh man, I doubted myself today. And then he'll quote it and it's like, psych, I didn't. I was just kidding. And then like, then he like takes over the world later that day. He's just a very genuine guy. Favorite
Lost the die roll, went second, 5 interruptions, still won.
Opponent set up 15 negates. I only had 3 cards in hand, but it's okay because I won. Yeah.
True.
The dude's crazy.
Question number 17.
Okay.
What was your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh format that you've played in?
Ooh, favorite Yu-Gi-Oh format. I mean, I won an event, but it still wasn't my favorite because I hated prank kids. I hated prank kids. So that format was not fun for me whatsoever. I would say probably YuGiOh format or Necros format. So I wasn't really too good at Necros. I played Satellar Knights during that format, which generally wasn't the best matchup, honestly. But Satellars had a pretty good matchup against Shaddoll and Burning Abyss. So it was like, if I don't play Necros, I'm pretty good with the events. Unfortunately, Necros was kind of like taking 70% of the top cut because it was so powerful. So it's still just like blew out me majority of the time. But I think as far as success and fun goes, it was YuGiOh format because I played Heroes during YuGiOh format, and Gemini Spark got over YuGiOh Armor, which was a 19 defense, no flip effect because it just pops it, and it was a resource management format, and I really liked that. Which is why I think I've seen a lot of success with the Despia, because you're a Despia player. It comes down to resources. It comes down to managing your graveyard, what effects you have left, and being able to save cards whenever you need to use them. And that YuGiOh format was definitely that for me.
That's cool. Question 18. We're nearing the end. You spoke a little bit about your local Yu-Gi-Oh scene and the regionals you went to. What does the local scene actually looks like? What does a local experience look like in your area? Not
very great, honestly, as far as competitive wise goes. So at my locals that I went to, it's Charlie Futch, the Dragon Duel World Champion, and he got top 16 at Nats this year, or the championship, and I attend there, and I would say we are the only ones at this local that have made it past top 32 of a YCS. And it's not that I'm saying that the players that are at my shop are bad, but you can tell that there's a difference that you can tell that some players really don't want to get better. They play the game because they just like hanging out with their friends and like whatever happens mentality. I think once you start breaking that mentality of saying like, hey, I want more for myself, I want to achieve more, you start taking things more serious and you start branching out, you start listening to games more, you start looking up cards more, you start traveling more. And right now where my locals is, there isn't a huge influx of that. So the competitive scene at my local isn't crazy. But for locals wise, I think on average for like a Friday or Saturday tournament, pool between 12 to 20 players for like a local event.
That's cool. So question number 19, one before the last one. You've went to a lot of big events and you've had to prepare for a lot of big events in your Yu-Gi-Oh career. Do you have like a specific ritual or superstition or something you do to prepare, except for, of course, playtesting?
I don't have any superstitions. one thing that's, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but like, I personally, before an event, like when I'm at an event or whatever, I'll wake up and I'll shower before the event, brush my teeth, I'll get nice and clean, because like, you feel good, you play good. So like, I just want to feel refreshed, and I just want to walk into a venue and just know that like, I smell good, I match, I'm clean, because I just feel like that helps you with your mental state when you're performing at an event. Water is important, making sure that you have breakfast before an event, because these events can go 10, 12 hours and you don't want to get that mental fatigue. I'll take granola bars with me to an event just to have something, so I don't have to pay like $20 for venue food all the time. But also, it's like I want to eat something kind of healthy. So yeah, just like you think good, you feel good, you play good. So I think that's kind of a core value that I like to keep for events.
Cool. That makes sense. The last question is, what will be your one advice, or many, to Yu-Gi-Oh players starting the game in 2022? There's someone watching this video right now interested in getting into Yu-Gi-Oh. You can be as honest as you want.
This is a money game. It's expensive. It's an expensive game. Do not expect to do well if you're not willing to either A, make friends enough so you can borrow their cards, or B, afford the cards, or be able to shell out the money that the cards are worth. It's an expensive hobby. I understand that not everybody thinks all cards should be expensive, but it's like a double-edged sword. Because if cards weren't expensive, then there wouldn't be a market for players to like buy product and sell product. And if that wasn't the case, Konami wouldn't continue printing the game. So it's unfortunate that the game has to be so expensive up front. Like when a new set comes out and we don't get reprints for like a year or whatever. But like if that wasn't the case, it wouldn't be worth it for Konami to continue to even print the cards to give us the game that we love. So it does suck, but just know that the game can be expensive up front. We just had an event that was won by, I think, a deck that cost less than $100. So it's not mandatory, but more often than not, the game is going to be more expensive than not if you want to have a higher chance at performing at a higher level. So don't get discouraged at the price of cards. Because if that is your boundary, and that is some people's boundaries, like some people are in college, some people just want to have a cheaper hobby, some people want to have an escape, I understand that. But if that is going to be the case for you, you're going to have to learn and understand a not tier 1 deck so well that you can build that deck to compete with tier 1 decks. You're going to have to do what it takes and do the research to figure out how your cheaper deck can perform with the higher decks. If you're traveling to an event, if you're traveling to events, if you want to stay local and you don't really want to spend, because here's how I look at it. If you're gonna spend the money to go to an event, to drive to an event, to spend the gas to an event, to get a hotel for an event, that costs money, and you know that you can't get around that. So why would you not attempt to save your money to have the better cards, so that when you do spend that money for hotel, gas, things like that, you get a better tournament experience if able.
That's really good advice. So that was the last question. Thank you so much, Lofton. Let the people back home know what are you up to these days and where they can find you.
Yes. Okay. So I have recently earned myself a 1-year suspension from Konami. Unfortunate. They did get back to me pretty fast with my appeal, and they did say specifically what I did was what I've already publicized on Twitter. I've already told you guys. I'm pretty transparent with my community. It involves me. It's my business. It's up to me if I want to disclose it. I also read the emails up and down. There was nothing in any email that said, hey, don't disclose this information. So if this ends up biting me in the ass later and they're like, hey, you weren't supposed to talk about this, we'll extend your ban, I'll probably be upset because, you didn't tell me I couldn't, but it is whatever. But as of right now, I'm focusing on content creating. I'm doing a series called Road to Rank 1 for the Dueling book, where my goal is to upload a video every single day for the next 365 days until I am rank 1, and I'm having fun with it, honestly. So my YouTube is Lofton TCG, my Twitter is Lofton TCG, and I'll be streaming some of the series on Twitch at Boss Lofton. Hopefully, when I get partnered one day, I'll be able to switch that name to Lofton TCG because OCD and I just, they don't match. So also can be confusing for some people.
That's true. Thank you so much for being on the show. That was super interesting and fun. And of course, we're going to put all the links down in the description. So go check out all of Lofton's channel. Lofton, man, thank you so much.
Dude, I appreciate you reaching out to me. This was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everybody back at home watching this, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe. Let us know in the comment what you thought about this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.